Jesus says, everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice, because they recognize that he speaks the truth. So they hold him as the authority and they listen to him, regardless of whether he has any official position given by the institution. He has a power that no man can give him. He has a power that no nation can give him. He has a power that no institution confers upon him. This is a difference between the power of Jesus and the power of clerical contemporaries who have the uniforms and the salaries and the titles, but not the support of the people. And this is the difference between the kingship of Jesus and the kingship of Pilate. If we can just put that in one way, one is institutional rule imposed by the occupying army, and the other a charismatic authority where the people come and put themselves under the rule of Christ, simply because they recognize that he speaks the truth. As has been pointed out, folks, charismatic authority is in the end the only sort of authority, since that power grows out not from the barrel of a gun. Jesus is here this morning and he doesn't force anybody to be faithful. He doesn't force anybody to give up everything and follow him. He doesn't force anybody to join his army. You have a choice. You have a choice this morning to just go out and live your life the way you want to live it. He puts no burden on you. He just shows you his nail-pierced hands. And he says, will you follow me? And it's up to you then to decide whether you want to follow him or you want to follow the government of our day. Or you want to follow some charismatic leader who's promising a utopia that will never come to pass. Now this is what Jesus means, I think, when he says, my kingdom is not of this world. He's not saying that his kingdom is located in another planet. He's saying that his kingdom is qualitatively different from the kingdoms of this world. It is not of the world because it is not based on the institutional power. And so his kingdom is not of this world. Indeed, the kingdom of God that Jesus speaks about is different in almost every respect from the kingdoms of this world. Let's turn to Mark 10 and just get a little glimpse of what more Jesus is saying here. Mark 10. And we'll read 42 to 45. And he called them to himself. Jesus said to them, you know that those who are recognized as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great men exercise authority over them. But it is not so among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servants. And whoever wishes to be first among you shall be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for Jesus tries to get this through to his disciples. Because, you know, as we live in this world, as we part of this nation, there are many that feel that they need to get in. Get in with the people that can bring you wealth. Get in with the people that can change your life. Get in with a party that can give you homes. Get in with a party that can give you jobs. And this is our mindset. Get in with those people that can make us rich. But we notice here when these disciples were arguing about who will have the most power in Jesus' government, how he brings such a beautiful lesson home to us all. You know that those who are recognized as rulers among the Gentiles lord it over them. And their superiors, they act like tyrants over them. That's not the way it should be among you, says Jesus. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you, you must be your servants, and whoever wants to be first among you must be a slave to everyone. Jesus' kingdom, this is what he really meant when he said, you know, this is not my kingdom. Jesus' kingdom is not like the societies we know. As the power structures, we are familiar with the turned on the head type of structure where people are, you know, power hungry. Instead, the biggest and the toughest people lord it over the weak. Greatness in this kingdom is established through service. And he says Jesus' kingdom is one where little children are valued as highly and maybe even higher than and cleverer than the accomplished adult people. In his kingdom, where might and money mean nothing in terms of a person's value, but where humility and sacrifice mean everything. I knew you were going to say amen to that. It's so easy to know who's going to say amen. His is the kingdom where the weak are not despised, but loved. Where the 99 healthy sheep are left on the hillside. Where attention is given to the one who strays away for some reason or the other. Jesus is king of what I might call an upside-down kingdom, where the first is last and the last is first. And so he says to Pilate, my kingdom is not of this world. I hope this gives you some confidence this morning. I trust that this word encourages you. My kingdom is not of this world. For he has no interest in competing with Pilate at this level. His power is not that sort of power. He could have called down a few legions of angels and all of these people would have fallen flat dead on the floor. But he didn't do that because his kingdom is not of this world. Let's look through this even more. The fact that Jesus is not competing with Pilate for political power does not mean that Jesus was not a revolutionary. Jesus was a revolutionary. And in a sense, his countrymen who represented him to Pilate as an insurgent were quite correct. For Jesus was starting a revolution. The charges were right. Jesus was starting a revolution, and it was a revolution that would bring a change throughout the earth. For it just wasn't a revolution that used force to arm the people to its end. No, it was not this kind of revolution. His kingdom is not of this world. But that doesn't mean you can follow Jesus and still follow the German leaders. For we likewise are not of this world. We too have to reject the power struggles. We too have to reject the darkness and the barbarianness of the world if we are to be subjects and servants of the Most High God. We have to reject them. Our gospel reading portrays a dark time in human history. 1925, when Pius proclaimed the feast of Christ the King, very few people accepted it or followed it. It was a very dark time. And as we are moving so swiftly through this year, 2014, I think we recognize that again we are in another very dark time in the period of human history. It's getting dark and darker. We really don't know what's going to become of the situations around us. Our world seems to be sinking into increasing global violence. At a local level, prejudices and divisions continue to grow as we anxiously anticipate the next 9/11. Knowing that when this happens, our nation and the nations of the world may well descend into a new level of barbarism. We too find ourselves in a conflict with this world and its rulers. We too are questioned, mocked, belittled, defamed, injured, and wearied by constant attacks. But we continue to take our stand with Christ, holding fast to the truth and declaring our allegiance not to the leaders of this world, no matter what they can promise us, because they don't speak truth. We declare our allegiance to our King. Christ is King. That is our proclamation this morning. That is our proclamation that we can take out with us after the service. Even though it looks dark, even though it looks dismal, even though it looks as if we're losing the battle, Christ is King. He is the one who we acknowledge as our ultimate authority. His is the kingdom that we are subjects of. His rule is the one we recognize above all other rule. And so we will not serve the government or any of the power mongers of this world who would turn us against our brothers and sisters in hatred and violence. We will not play their games, and we will not compete with them on any level. Our kingdom is not of this world. We need to understand it. We need to get that deep into our hearts. Our kingdom is not of this world. Their ways are We do not want their money. We do not want their titles. Their kingdom is not our kingdom. No, we've chosen Christ as our King. And if we have to go by way of Golgotha to the cross, then let it be. Because we have chosen Christ. And so we refuse to recognize the ultimate authority of anyone whose power grows out of the barrel of a gun. Rather, we stand by Christ, holding fast to our belief in the better world that is to come. Because this is very temporal. This is just for a few years. And together with our King, we move forward through sacrifice and service. And as the hymn writer says, onward Christian soldiers, marching as to war. Not like the wars of this world. Because we are not of this world. It's not easy to follow Christ the King. Because it seems like an upside down kingdom. Because when he says, they smack you on this side, give them the other side. Just does not make sense in the natural. And so it's not easy to follow Christ the King. We know that. As indeed we know that our gospel drama today concludes not with Jesus striding from the palace victorious, but with him being taken away and executed. Even so, we want to proclaim it this morning. Christ is King. Hallelujah. Christ is King. Hallelujah. His the kingdom. His the power. His the glory. Forever and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. We worship you, Lord Jesus.